Hey everybody, Mrs. Herman here. We are going to do a 3-act task today. And today our task is going to be figuring out how many sugar cubes are in a 2-liter bottle of root beer. So go ahead, you are going to watch this first act, this first video. They're going to give you a little bit of information, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So just kind of pay attention, watch it, and think to yourself, what are things that you notice and what are things that you wonder? Okay, so that is telling us that it's showing us a smaller bottle of root beer. And if you notice, there were 6 across the bottom and there were 5 rows of that. So there's 30 of those sugar cubes in one of the smaller bottles. And we're trying to figure out how many are going to be in that bigger bottle. So go ahead, think to yourself, what do you notice? What do you wonder? What are some questions you would want to still ask to get more information? And then I want you to go ahead and make a low estimate and then a high estimate that you know there's definitely more than this amount of sugar cubes, but there's definitely less than this amount of sugar cubes. And then go ahead and answer that in the Edpuzzle question. All right, now that you have made your estimate as to how many sugar cubes are in the larger 2-liter bottle, we're gonna go ahead and move on to Act 2. Okay, so you're gonna get some more information here. I'm gonna click on that first link that says number of grams in a sugar cube. So one of those little cubes, when we click on this, okay, it shows your serving size is 1 cube. The sugars are 2.5 grams. So in one of those little cubes, there's 2.5 grams of sugar in 1 cube. Okay, that's gonna be some helpful information. Then I also need to know, well, how many grams are in the big giant 2-liter bottle? So there's 2 more pieces of information we need to know here. If you look at that bottom right here, it says there's 45 grams of sugar. That's just in 1 serving. If you look up here, there are 6 of those servings. So that's 6 45s in 1 2-liter bottle of root beer. So that's gonna help us with some information. So go ahead, take that information and go ahead and adjust your estimate and your guess as to how many sugar cubes you think are going to be in that 2-liter bottle of root beer. And after you do that, we'll go ahead and move forward to Act 3. All right, so we're gonna definitely get our answer here. You're gonna see if you were pretty close to that estimate, and then we're gonna go through, before we watch it, we're gonna actually hop into, or I'm going to hop in here, and let's see if we can use some math to help figure this out, and we'll watch the video to see if we are right. So our main question is, how many sugar cubes are in a 2-liter bottle of root beer? Here are the 3 pieces of information we know. 1 sugar cube is 2.5 grams. There's 45 grams of sugar in 1 serving of root beer, and there's 6 of those servings in 1 2-liter bottle. So the thing I want to do first is let's figure out how many sugar cubes are just in 1 serving. So if there are 45 grams of sugar in 1 serving of root beer, I want to know how many groups of 2.5, because that's how many sugar cubes are going to be in that serving. So we are going to go ahead and divide with this decimal. Now we know that we cannot have a decimal on the outside of that division problem, okay, in that divisor. So I need to move it. I'm going to multiply this by 10 to make it 25. And if you multiply this number by 10, we have to keep it balanced, and we're going to multiply this number by 10, which turns this into 450. Because I've adjusted both of those numbers to be 10 times larger, my answer is still going to be the same. So 25 can go into 45. Whoops, 1 time. We've got 20 left over, so I'm going to bring down that 0. And 25 goes into 200. I know it goes into 104 times, so 200 is just double that, 8 times. Okay, now I'm not done here. This is telling me there are 18 sugar cubes in 1 serving. Well, how many servings are in that 2-liter bottle? There are 6. So we have to take those 18 cubes and multiply it by 6. So based on this, we are guessing there are 108 sugar cubes in a 2-liter bottle of root beer. Now you could have maybe gotten to this a different way, but let's go ahead and go back to the video and check and see. Let me circle this so we know our answer. There we go. Let's hop back to that video and see if we're right. So there's 10, so he's going to do groups of 10. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 108. We got it. Nice job, guys. That also makes me never want to drink root beer again. Awesome. All right, we'll do some more of these definitely next.